Hello, and welcome to an all-new episode of Press YYZ. We're the only Canadian gaming podcast that you can catch live on Twitch every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, as well as on podcast services and YouTube every Thursday. My name is AJ Fraser, and I am joined today by Alexander Kozina.
Hello, hello, hello.
Nathan McInerney.
Yo, what's going on, guys?
And risen in this spoopy month of all spoopy month from the podcast, I don't know, something graveyard, something, I don't know. Mitch is back, guys. I don't know where I was going with that. I was trying to be
Why did
Cozy
Cozy sounds like some weird stalker vampire there for just was that intentional or was it just kind of no, never mind. I'm back. Hey, I'm here. Hello.
Howdy.
And me.
Yeah. Good to have you back, Mitch.
Not gonna lie, it's weird to be back. But I'm sure we'll get into that. I'll let you go through your rigmarole.
Sure. Before we get fully started, as a reminder, we here at Press YYZ stand against discrimination of any kind. While we appreciate however you choose to give back to our show, there is no better way to support us than by being excellent to each other. A little bit of housekeeping, really quick. Nathan, you're going to be playing some more Psychonauts?
Yeah, just quickly, I wrapped up the level for Psykane, and now we're moving on to Ford Crueller's final portion. I've been saving all the story mode for you guys on stream, so I'm hoping you can join me, because I've not played story since last week, and I'm going to try and be consistent and save that just for my streams.
And that's going to be on Thursday, October 21st at 9-ish?
Yes, at 9-ish is when I start my streaming typically, yes.
Perfect. And then, you can look forward to seeing some of the crew here, if not all of us, get together and play a little Back for Blood early next week. Date still to be determined at some point. So
Scheduling is hard.
Yeah, especially trying to coordinate a whole bunch of different lives. Everybody's in a different place.
Adulting.
Yeah, adulting sucks. I hate it. You know what, Mitch? Let's catch up. How you been? What have you been up to? What's up?
Where to start? Oh, hold on. Camera's being weird. There we go. I'm back.
Always.
Yeah, Sal, I'm with you there. I'm drinking to the adulting as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just open the second one because I'm going to need it. It's been a minute, and there's a reason.
Been a bit of a minute.
There's a reason for that. I probably should have put this in the Jeff Goldblum cozy before I opened it, but I didn't, and we'll survive. For those who don't know, behind the scenes here, there was an idea, an initiative, as it were, to bring together a bunch of content creators and make dope stuff around E3. Obviously, we didn't do that. And there are many reasons behind that. Entirely valid reasons that were rightfully called out by members of the wider gaming community, or specifically in this case, I'm not going to get into specifics, honestly. And there was an incident around our show where someone did, attack my character a bit, and you guys came to bat for me. But in the way that was done, it wasn't a good look from the way that all went. And I've struggled for months now, because it is October and this was in May, probably. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've struggled for months about what it means to me, just feeling conflicted around, is continuing to do this the right space for me? Is it time for me to do something on my own? Obviously, in the time since, I've started working on Disney Plus Us, and that's been a ton of fun, and it's allowed me to flex muscles that, to let y'all know, if you were a fan of YYZ Video, this whole incident is the reason that show no longer exists. Yep. I can say that here. Mm-hmm. I don't ever see it coming back. Maybe it does. Probably it doesn't. And I wanted a way to still, talk about things that I love outside of just gaming. Yeah. And that space gave me a great place to do that. And thank you to Griffin for letting me come along on that ride with him and I really have appreciated it. But when it came to this show, I had felt such anxiety around being here, and I was on a couple of pieces of content since May. I think specifically there was like a Pokemon Direct that Cozy and I reacted to, a couple of episodes of the podcast, but it didn't feel right. And that's why I knew I had to take a step back and, reevaluate myself and where I stand. And ultimately, I think I've gotten to a point where fuck what people think. And I enjoy getting together with some of my best friends and chatting about dumb stuff we love. For the people that do watch this and for those who do, thank you. But honestly, like, what we do is so small in the grand scheme of things that I can't let what transpired really allow me to get into my own head about things as much as I have over the last few months. And me, coming back and doing this, hopefully on a regular basis, because, and all of this time I've moved, I've got a house to take care of now, marriage, all these things we're looking at.
Life and adulting. Well,
I mean, we're also looking at adopting a dog. So like, there's a lot of things in the works. That's exclusive news here for y'all. So like, there's just a lot of things in motion, and I'm glad that I still, after all this time away and not knowing how you guys would feel about me, not only taking a step back, but being far less active in Discord, not being nearly as active on Twitter when it came to interacting with the show and with you guys, that it didn't really matter, which I am very grateful for. So thank you.
Yeah, of course. Mitch, that, it was a long time ago that, all that stuff transpired, and there were places that we thought were safe that were not exactly so safe, and some things that got kind of misconstrued in the background, and there was a bit of broken telephone with the whole thing. Some broken telephone with all of it and everything, and some people have some now derogatory labels for this show, and which doesn't exactly make sense to me, but I hear that.
Whether in jest or not, it's definitely something for me that I've taken to heart, and I want to make sure that anyone who does feel that way about us, or any of us, or this getting together to goof off and chat video games, understands that at the heart of it, it was, friends defending friends, even though it might not have looked that way to some, or being misconstrued in the context or sphere of Twitter, where, tone doesn't exist on Twitter. One thing I learned from all of this, you have to be very careful with what you say in terms of not being misconstrued by anyone. But ultimately, at the end of the day, like, I'm in the time since this has happened, Nathan came to my wedding reception. AJ, you came over and we played some Harry Potter deck building.
We played a little
that deck building game. I gotta buy that game because that was a
you're gonna buy it yourself now. So
I do. I still have to wrestle with the fact that it's a Harry Potter thing, and figure out how I feel about
it was a gift, so we didn't spend money on it.
I know, but for me, it's like, I love the property, but can I separate the art from the artist and that whole thing? But that's something that I'm going to figure out on my own time.
And don't forget, it's not. Don't forget, Mitch, I planned out and then canceled the trip to Toronto, so you can't say I didn't try.
You didn't. Oh no, you did try it, and I give you credit for that. But also, if anyone's hitting up Fan Expo on Saturday, let me know because I will be there.
It's definitely
because Cozy won't be.
I was really hoping to go, and I had initially planned to go, but my family is throwing me a very belated 40th birthday party on Saturday. So
I was gonna say, it's been a minute.
Been a few weeks. So apparently we're adults, and scheduling adults is very, very difficult. So
as we've learned.
Yes. So
that's where I'm at. Don't let me take over this whole show. Y'all have been doing your thing and killing it for months. So get back to your normal, joyous, happy talking about dumb stuff.
All right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Apparently.
Wait, before we go on,
Yeah, go ahead.
Mitch, I'm so glad you're back. And we love you.
I know.
Yeah.
You guys needed a host. I get it.
Yeah.
Next week. Don't worry about it. I got you.
Yeah, we needed a host, so they made me do it.
Yeah.
This time.
I feel bad. So I had to come back and save y'all. It's fine.
Of course. Yeah. I guess on that note, yeah. So let's see. Hold on. I gotta look. It's a little bit.
It's a little bit hard to make a transition from a big.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
it absolutely is. Serious topic.
Relieving of emotions.
No, don't apologize. Like things like that need to be said once in a while, and just kind of ground us in reality. Remind us of our own privilege, and because that's the only way that we can move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So. Cozy,
we should have opened with that.
No, it needed to get.
I think it was the right thing to open.
It was the right thing.
100%.
Yeah. Cozy.
Yeah.
A new Smash Brothers character came out.
Yes.
The final.
That's
it was Waluigi.
The ultimate Smash Brothers character.
Waluigi was nowhere to be seen, I'm afraid, Nathan.
He's an assist trophy. It's fine.
A final Smash character descended from the heavens. He descended from the skies. It was none other than Sora, who, of course, eagle-eyed listeners will know means sky in Japanese. He's come to grace us all with his beauty and grace and airiness. And I gotta say, I've been having a lot of fun playing as him, but I don't know if I love his second jump. I find that there's a little bit too much waiting time when you press on that second jump button, and it's the only thing that keeps me from wholeheartedly embracing him. Everything else about him is great. I love his neutral B, his side B, which is Sonic Blade. I love his up B. Everything about him is real good, but him being a floaty character is definitely a choice, because in the Kingdom Hearts series, like, a lot of the gameplay is centered around you being able to master combos, being able to kind of keep enemies occupied on the ground, in the air. There are a lot of particularly challenging segments in Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3 where Sora is zipping around in the sky like there's no tomorrow. And so I definitely understand Masahiro Sakurai's logic in making Sora a floatier character, but it has had its unintended consequences. I'll say that.
Go ahead, Mitch.
Cozy, I just linked you something you may want to bring up, but a couple of Twitter users translated the latest blog post from Masahiro Sakurai, where he talked a little bit more about how Sora actually got included in Smash. And it's really, really interesting to read through it. I actually didn't read the last half of it because it was still being posted when I found it. But essentially, the conversations between Sora or between Sakurai and Disney started in an elevator, where they never thought it could happen. They're like, "Yeah, we got to totally make this happen." And Disney was actually really, really involved from the get-go with trying to get Sora included in Smash. And the Fighter Pass 2 was originally only supposed to have 5 characters. So they expanded the last Fighter Pass just to get Sora included in the game because he'd been requested by fans for such a long time. It's a really interesting read, and I do suggest anyone who hasn't to go and find this, because there's a lot of really cool details translated from the latest Sakurai blog post.
That's a really funny anecdote if it's true, because that's like very similar to the quote-unquote legend of how the original Kingdom Hearts came to be. Supposedly Nomura was in an elevator with like Hironobu Sakaguchi and some other people from Square Enix talking about some project or another, and he was like, hey, I want in, and then one thing led to another, and eventually Kingdom Hearts came out of it. Again, legend, but yeah, who knows? Maybe we just need to step into our own elevator to take control of our destiny.
Maybe.
Your heart be your guiding key.
I put a little bit of time into Sora as well, and I've come to appreciate the way he controls and whatnot. The one thing I actually really appreciate is, he's kind of got magic spells, which are on the neutral B attack,
mm-hmm.
but they're not random. They're predictable, and they're in a set order.
Right.
because there's only the 3 of them, right?
Yeah.
The Blizzard, the Lightning, and the Fire one. And unlike something like Hero, where it's completely random, where I can't exactly read the subtitles of I can't play as Hero and be effective. And I also hate playing against Hero because people are too good with Hero, and it pisses me off. But it's a very light magic, and then the physicality of it and everything. Actually, Mitch, you sent me a TikTok earlier, of apparently Sora can survive Bowser's grab.
Yep.
Not the grab attack, but the side B grab.
So Bowser's side B historically is just it's a slam that you can sacrifice yourself off the stage and take the character with you. But if you time it right, Sora has enough recovery that using all of Sora's recovery tactics, you can actually make it back to the stage even though Bowser tried to kill you. It's ridiculous how aerial this character is.
It's the side B specifically that they use to get back up onto the stage, because you can kind of side B and angle it up if you wanted. So that was super cool to see as well. So it seems like some good fights are going to be had with Sora. A welcome addition. That was a welcome addition. Sora is. That's a quote from our good friend Alex Ballant. He just wanted us to make sure we got his good word in there for that. So
I believe he's a big Kingdom Hearts fan. Is that not correct?
Yeah, that's probably why he sent that note in.
I believe there was a plan at some point to play that drunk with him for the first time, and that would have been a lot of fun.
That would have been.
We'll do that down the line.
Yeah. All right. So moving on here. Let's see. Nathan.
Yo.
You lost your wallet.
I lost my wallet. On the show notes here, by the way, it just says lost wallet, which I put in. And I feel like that would be a tremendous video game idea.
It just sounds like one of those visual novels that Cozy's into.
It sounds like
what's funny
another
is
lost phone.
Yeah, another lost phone.
Don't tell me it's an actual fucking visual novel.
Hold on a second.
God damn it.
If I recall correctly, Another Lost Phone is not a visual novel. It's almost more like an adventure game that takes place entirely within a locked phone or an unlocked phone. I guess, I have not played that game to say the least, but
I played it. It's good.
I've played it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so wait, hold on a second. Why'd you act like you didn't know what it was?
I knew what it was. I thought you were going to go on a rant about how Lost Wallet is a Japanese visual novel with scantily clad women trying to find their lost wallet.
No, that was
ending up in weird predicaments.
No,
that's what I was expecting.
That was 2 weeks ago when I accidentally played Hentai versus Evil. That's another story.
See, and that's why I stopped coming on the show.
Oh no. But so just quickly, don't lose your wallet. It sucks. It's terrible. It's the worst thing that ever happens because you got to get everything replaced. I'm still waiting for cards. And now I got to walk around with my passport so that I have a photo ID when I go into places and need to prove I'm vaccinated.
Don't lose that either.
How is it 2021 and we still rely on physical IDs and cards? Like, why is that still a thing? Why does the government of Canada or the province of Ontario or Quebec implement some sort of digital system instead of me having to print out a fucking PDF with my QR code on instead of putting it in my phone?
I wish the vaccines had these nano machines so that I would be able to just boop a thing and get into a...
Give me that as an option. I would do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Disney does it. They fingerprint you every time you go into the damn parks. Let me do that in other places. I don't care. Come on.
Yeah,
for sure. Program. It's the 21st century. This losing your wallet should not be this big a deal. We shouldn't even need to have friggin' wallets at this point. And that's enough of me ranting about wallets. They're dumb.
Yeah. I have a new wallet. It just got delivered today. So now I just need the rest of my cards to show up.
My wallet is tiny and I have like 4 cards in it. And I wish I didn't have to carry this thing around with the 4 cards in it.
Yeah. I went a little bit bigger than that, but I got a really small one, and with that new RFID technology, so people can't scan my cards.
Oh, that's
You're
good.
a dad, though. You're supposed to have the wallet that's like 3 inches thick with all your receipts and stuff.
Then
And
you're
my dad
supposed to-
still sits on his wallet like that.
The George
Yeah, you're
Costanza
supposed to
wallet.
sit on it so it makes your spine nice and curved, right?
Yeah, my dad sits on it and puts holes in every pair of jeans he owns. Sorry, Dad. I just doubted you here. I'm sorry.
How dare
Jesus.
But it's true. Dude's
is
got
it-
a wallet thicker than my forearm. It's ridiculous.
Are these wallets like real sharp? Is that why they're making holes?
No, they're just plain leather wallet. The dude just has too many things in his wallet.
Hmm.
So, anyways,
Yeah.
move
Fair
on,
enough.
AJ.
Yeah.
Talk about lost wallet.
So on the path on the thought of adulting, tell me about your new lawnmower.
Yeah. So when we moved into our house, we bought a lawnmower off the previous owner because I didn't need it anymore. And the guy told me, "Oh, it's just got a small leak in the gas tank. That's no big deal, right?"
That's a big deal.
Fast forward about 4 months, and it's no longer a slow leak. So I filled this thing up with gas, started it. The thing started for about 90 seconds before the engine clunked out on me. And I'm just seeing this stream of gasoline. I'm just like, I'm done. So I went out. We had some gifts left over from wedding reception and house buying when people give you stuff for that, apparently. And bought a real nice battery operated electric lawnmower. It's mostly plastic components. You don't have to worry about things rusting out. Honestly, it's the first purchase I've made since buying a house. As funny as it sounds, that makes me feel like an adult.
Okay.
Like, we've done other things around the house. We actually just got our front steps replaced, but that didn't feel like an adult purchase. But going to a store being like, I need that lawnmower, that felt like adulting right there.
Well, lawnmowers are one of those appliances where I'm not actively ever thinking about the fact that since our household purchased our last lawnmower, they've continued to grow and advance and become that much more technologically equipped than what we had when we got our lawnmowers. But clearly, looking at this specimen, like, they totally have. So, as much as I don't envy you having paid the price that you paid for this thing, I am nevertheless quite jealous of how high tech it looks.
Can you let me know how long the batteries last, Mitch? I'm just curious in case I ever have to replace mine.
So the one we bought came with 2 batteries. And it's got 2 battery compartments. You use the key that starts it to decide which battery you're draining.
Oh, cool.
And I put both batteries in, fully charged, ran the lawnmower for probably like 30 minutes. We have a pretty small yard. Like, you've seen it. It's not the biggest of yards. It drained a quarter of one of the batteries.
Oh, that's not bad, actually. Okay, good.
No,
Yeah, that's
and
solid.
the thing said 70-hour runtime on the 2 batteries that came with it.
Huh. I feel like my grandfather had something similar, like one of those just swap the battery.
It's
lawnmowers.
honestly like, knowing I was getting a house, I'm like, all right, I'm going to need power tools and I'm going to need, yard equipment and all the stuff. We bought a whole whack of stuff off the previous owners because they were downsizing. But like, we've got these electric trimmers and leaf blowers and things like that, but they're all plug-in. And I find that they're terrible.
Yeah.
But what's nice about newer appliances and tools is that they all run on similar battery systems. So like, the battery I have for the lawnmower, if I wanted to go out and get a snowblower or, a leaf blower or a chainsaw or a trimmer or a hedger or an edger,
Wow.
like, they'd all run on similar batteries if I bought the one that was compatible with that battery family, which I probably would, because it's like the most powerful battery that this make has. They have a smaller battery set, like a smaller battery family as well for like drills and things like that are a little more portable, which I'll probably end up investing in. Cozy, to answer your question, it was Gamer Adam.
Okay.
Yeah, Nathan and I saw that, so we'll make sure that thanks to the generosity of Darth Stridius in the chat, who redeemed a whole bunch of, what the hell do we call
Channel
them?
points, girth bucks.
Why did I come back to this show again?
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to be guiding the raid at someone specific over on twitch.tv/Press YYZ. So if you want to go and earn those girth bucks, be sure to tune in live every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Yeah, let's get girthy with it. Speaking of girth,
I'll be back.
Now Mitch is gone. Mamoswine is in Pokemon Unite, and Mamoswine is a lot of fun to play with. I've been playing Pokemon Unite on and off now that it's available on phones. It's still stupidly kind of pay to win garbage to an extent, but the little bit that I mentioned previously that I did put a little bit of money into it just to see
a little bit.
A lot of it.
That was more than a little.
Yeah, it was. And so in doing so, I had enough resources to just get the new characters. One is Mamoswine, and another is
Greedent.
What's the EV fairy evolution? Sylveon.
But as of today, they've added another new character, Greedent, as part of their Halloween festival celebration, which started today.
When you think
I do want to get back into the game and check it out.
You think of Greedent.
Yeah, I've not played as Greedent at this point, but
sure you will.
I don't know what Greedent is.
Greedent is the Galar.
It looks like a chocolate squirrel.
It's essentially a chipmunk. It's the Galar early root Pokemon. So think like Rattata, think Sentret from those games, like the first kind of normal type garbage Pokemon you encounter. It's the Bidoof of Sword and Shield, basically.
Okay, I was picturing something with, and I did play Sword and Shield, so I probably do know what that character is if I saw a picture of it.
Yeah.
But I was picturing like greed being the word and some sort of like tycoon Pokemon.
It does have it does have an ability, I believe, Cheek Pouch, that it essentially it will hoard berries when it uses them. Like I don't remember exactly how the ability works. It's not great. Like it's not a good the thing Pokemon Unite is doing best, I would say, is they're highlighting a lot of Pokemon that wouldn't otherwise get a highlight. So like Zeraora,
Crustle,
Cramorant. Like these aren't Pokemon that are getting like buzz around the Pokemon world. I mean, Mamoswine gets a lot of use, or used to get a lot of use competitively, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to get reacquainted with it in Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. Sylveon does get a lot of use. The Kanto starters are the Kanto starters. Lucario, Pokemon like that have gotten a lot of buzz over the years, but Pokemon like Greedent don't typically, and it's really cool to see them taking these Pokemon that don't mean a lot in the core games and making them the stars of this game. I think it's what this game is best for, similarly to what we got with Pokken Tournament back in the day.
Okay. AJ, are you getting into League of Legends next? Now that you're a big MOBA person.
No, if I was gonna get into any like quote unquote real MOBA, it would be Dota.
Okay.
Yeah, which the international just happened, and a couple of 19-year-olds walked away with like $19 million. So,
God, why couldn't esports have been a thing when I was good at video games?
Like,
should I get my kid working on this?
Yes,
110%.
Absolutely.
You need him to pay for your retirement.
Yeah, sit him down in front of Dota and just boom, done.
You will learn, or I will make you.
I'll be like a bad hockey dad, but like for video games.
Yeah.
Speaking of Pokemon, though, I've like the last couple of weeks, I've gone down this ridiculous rabbit hole of finding pretty much every Pokemon YouTuber I can who's doing like videos and things on Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus, because we've gotten a little more news around that. We just got this weird live action Blair Witch-esque teaser for Pokemon Legends Arceus, where the camera person, it's all static and this person gets attacked. It's crazy. And there's so much speculation of, is this a Hisuian Zeraorc, or is it like an alternate evolution of Snow-Rud or something like that? There's all these weird theories out in the world, and I need all of this content every day because we're we're less than a month from Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and then Legends Arceus comes out 2 days before my birthday, and I know what I'm doing that weekend.
The Pokemon games have definitely been getting more creative in the way that they unveil new Pokemon. People might remember a couple years ago that originally Meltan, the Steel Legendary type Pokemon, was unveiled via Pokemon Go during like a random kind of freak occurrence event, and then. Talking about like regional forms, there was also Galarian Ponyta, which was revealed via that 24-hour live stream. And this seems
that was in a 24-hour stream. I remember that, and people were freaking out about that.
That was so much fun.
And it seems like the evidence, this trailer existing seems to suggest that there will probably continue to be unusual, weird Pokemon reveals like this going forward. And so I'm looking forward to seeing whatever they come up with next, because I'll definitely be for it.
All right. Sweet.
This trailer, I mean, this is my first time watching this trailer. I saw like the news stories drop when this trailer dropped, but I did not realize how like gritty and intentionally low quality the trailer would be.
Yeah, it honestly, and timed as well as they did in the holiday season that is Halloween. It couldn't have been a better time to do something like this. And then ultimately, I expect probably next week we'll get the reveal of whatever this Pokemon is, maybe with some other details, and that'll be cool. But it's just the way they're teasing it isn't just, hey, stay tuned for this Pokemon Presents you're going to get in a week. They've just been like dropping random trailers on Tuesdays. It's great.
If you're only like listening to the audio version of this podcast, it can't be stressed like how little the actual trailer resembles like anything intelligible. Like if you muted or just like blacked out the subtitles, you would think that, oh, this is a like new Saw or a new Blair Witch reboot. Like it's that.
Yeah, it's VHS quality, grainy screen. You can't make out anything except for the occasional snow rut. There's nothing to it. But AJ, I'll let you get back to whatever else you want us to talk about.
In summary, Pokemon Unite, it remains fun, but still kind of pay to win garbage to an extent. Something else that I've been playing, I actually just found it today, and it's been a heck of a lot of fun, is something called Right Click to Necromance. And that's
a visual novel, right?
Yeah, maybe.
It does state right-clicking in its name, though, Mitch. And typically, most visual novels only require the use of the left click in order to progress through them.
You have to click in them. Hence, they're all point-and-click adventures. Hence, this is probably a visual novel, and I'm gonna Google it.
I don't know. I feel like
AJ is going to tell us all about it.
I feel like if you right-click in a visual novel, it'll ask if you want to save as PDF or something.
So this
PDFs
game,
on the Vita?
Sorry, AJ, go ahead.
No, so this game here, I just stumbled across a YouTube video, and this guy, the guy who got me interested in that Beaver City Builder that I played a few weeks
Timberborn.
ago.
I'm sorry, what?
Timberborn.
Yeah, you missed this.
Yeah, you missed the episode. There's a Beaver City Builder.
You're beavers, and you're building a city. You're building a city as beavers.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's post-apocalyptic as well.
And they may or may not have opposable thumbs.
Let's talk about this one, because that sounds disgusting. Let's talk about this new weird thing you're onto.
This is just a super tiny like itch.io game that, it's technically free, but you can, support the developer and pay what you want. I gave them $5 just as a thing, but it's you left click to move this group of gray characters around this map, and you're fighting all these other purple guys. And when you can defeat an entire group of the purple guys, they die, and then you right click and they rise from the dead, and they are now on your team, and you add them. Much like those old, like the phone games where you play as like a blob or whatever, and you're trying to eat what was it, a Gario or something I forget.
Sounds right. That sounds familiar.
It's similar to it. Not it in no way resembles that, but like your characters are fighting the purple dudes to defeat them so that you can raise them up, and you're just trying to make your group of characters bigger and bigger as you go on. And as you go on and as you kind of progress, stronger and stronger enemies will eventually begin to show up. And you have to get a good army of your own dudes of all variety of characters to just be able to kind of take on the like the stronger and stronger purple guys that show up. It's just a dumb little thing. It's very reminiscent of like a little Flash game or whatever, where two mouse buttons and that's all you have to do.
There's no controlling the characters; they all auto attack.
Yep, they all sort of auto attack, and you kind of want to, with your left click, you kind of want to guide them like up and around, so that they kind of swarm. Because if they're not in direct combat range, they're not going to attack. And that it's a lot more difficult than it looks to try and get these guys to do what they're supposed to. But when it does work, it's very satisfying.
This game isn't on mobile devices, is it?
No, I don't believe so. I think it's just on itch.
It feels like it would be good on a mobile device, but you can't right click on a mobile device.
This is going to sound.
You can double tap.
This is going to sound.
That's just going to zoom in though.
This is going to sound like an underhanded insult, but I don't mean it that way. This feels like a mobile game that would have been huge circa 2009, 2010. Like during that period of time where the mobile market was really blowing up, and you had mainstream websites like IGN really kind of highlighting these sort of indie darlings that were coming to the platform.
On the early iPhones and the iPods and stuff, the early Android phones, absolutely, it could have been one of those.
When Infinity Blade was a thing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Old shit. Infinity Blade.
Our good friend Kit in the chat bringing up Castle Crashers, and I think that's a good comparable to this as well.
That's kind of how that looks for sure. That's oddly enough, I never played Castle Crashers.
That's another one that we should 100% do a game stream, like a get together, play this game on stream, because it's classic arcade beat 'em up action. It's great. It's really good.
That was one of those games I remember people talked about so much during the early days of the Xbox 360, and I'm looking forward to eventually being able to play that game again, but I'm almost like more interested in it as like a piece of gaming history than I am interested in it as like this multiplayer experience, even though I'm sure it will still be fun.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Damn.
What?
Cool.
I've been playing around with something while we were doing the show. I got up and was messing around with some stuff. I have a couple of things in front of me that I was tempted to try, mostly because of what we're going to talk about later, and we're going to talk about DC Fandome a ton. I went and found this in one of my moving boxes, and for those who cannot tell or are not watching the video version, especially since it's going to blur it out, it's my Xbox 360 copy of Batman Arkham Origins.
Oh, that's right. Origins, never mind.
Because
developed in Montreal.
Yes. Developed by the same team developing Gotham Knights, which we should see in 2022, which we'll talk about in a bit. But I've never actually finished this game. And I figured I own it on PC, but I don't like playing games on PC. I just have this weird thing about playing PC games. So I figured, hey, I'm going to see if it's available on the Xbox store. And it's not. You cannot buy this digitally through the Xbox store.
Is it backwards compatible?
You can buy the other 3 Arkham games, and I definitely did that because they're on sale for 75% off until tomorrow. So if you're listening to this later, sorry.
Yeah.
So I bought those so I can play them on my Xbox Series X. But I went and I threw that Arkham Origins disc in the box, and guess what the box said? Let's install the thing. So it totally works via backwards compatibility. Okay, perfect. Hey, but while I was sifting through that box, I pulled out another game that I absolutely adored on the PS3, Xbox 360 generation of consoles. This one is unfortunately not backwards compatible, and that's Transformers: Fall of Cybertron. One of the last few games developed by High Moon Studios for Activision before they got absorbed into the Call of Duty machine. And that one is not backwards compatible. And I just saw it come up on my screen because I was changing the disc between segments. and a single tier just formed.
I get that.
I'm going to play Arkham Origins, and I'm really excited to play Arkham Origins.
No,
I
it's
might
fun.
actually
I don't think I
them
ever
all
played Origins.
now in Gotham Knights. I can lend you my copy if you want.
Oh yeah, but yeah, we could try
Because
something.
you have
like
an
that.
Xbox.
I do have an Xbox. Yes. You know, the only disappointing thing about backwards compatibility is that I can't play Tony Hawk.
Yeah, that licensing will get you every time. Sorry, but I interrupted. AJ, what did you want to throw to next?
Speaking of Xbox games, Nathan, tell me a little bit more about Psychonauts.
So I've been playing Psychonauts 2 on stream for a few times now. I'm going to continue, by the way, I think I mentioned this earlier, but just in case, saving story mode for Psychonauts 2. So that's just going to be for streams for consistency, and I'm not going to go any further. So if you tune in to stream 1 week, I'm going to be continued to the story from where we left off.
And are these are being archived? Yes, on the Twitch page.
Probably not.
Maybe?
Do I need to do something to do that?
Yeah,
Probably
they expire after like 45 days unless you have them to
so
a
if you miss the
export
first
them to
couple,
YouTube.
then
in all fairness, I didn't start it on stream, but I just feel like I'm going to continue on stream, and I think that's how I'm going to do my games going forward, is just find a game I can play in story mode and just save the story for my weekly streams. Something not too long. I like a good platformer. Now, here's the thing about Psychonauts 2. Have any of you guys had a chance to play it yet?
Nope, not yet.
Played about 2 hours of the first one like 5 years ago. Does that count?
Sure.
I do want to play the second one because I've heard it does a really good job of recapping the first game, so I might just skip the first one and jump right into the second.
Mm-hmm. I haven't played the first game fully either. I think I might actually play that next. But what I will say is that this is a great platformer that has terrible combat. I love looking around the levels. I love the collecting.
Sounds like another game I played during my hiatus from this show.
Which one?
As much as I hate to say it, Kena Bridge of Spirits, great game, great visuals, combat lackluster.
Yeah. The combat is very punchy. Like you press, I don't know, on Xbox, one of the buttons,
X.
Maybe it's X. Could be an X.
Y,
X gonna give it to you.
LB.
Cross. Is it
God
cross?
damn it, Cozy. No, cross is just PlayStation.
Okay.
This is an American controller, god damn it.
You press a bunch of buttons, or one button to just punch, and then you can map all your psychic abilities to your shoulder buttons. And at first I was just doing the punching, and I've had to get more creative using the psychic abilities, because I didn't really think about that for combat. But it does limit. I think you're going to have like 8 in total, and it really just limits you to 4 at a time that you have to switch in and out of your shoulder buttons. So whenever I get into combat situations, I'm like, oh no. I don't love it. I don't love the bosses, but I love everything else about this game in terms of going around collecting. I love the world. Tim Schafer and Double Fine have created some of my favorite universes over the years. I love the old point-and-click adventure games like Full Throttle. And
Stacking was incredible. Right? Was it Stacking?
Stacking, yeah. Yep. Stacking, you're right.
Costume Quest, both those games are phenomenal.
I love Costume Quest too.
Some of my favorite turn-based games of all time.
I've always wanted to try. Yeah,
one at a time, gentlemen.
Wanted to try Brutal Legend for sure.
Ooh.
If you've got a PS3 sitting around somewhere, like I literally went and dug through my PS3 360 era.
I think it's on Game Pass.
Games.
Yeah, it would be on Game Pass.
That would probably work too.
Yeah.
Never mind. Probably a lot easier to do that than to find a PS3 that works.
Brutal Legend's really weird.
I'm surprised it's on Game Pass with the licensing and all that though, because the music in that game is really good, but licensed music usually, puts the stops to a lot of things like that.
Anyways, just if you get a chance, check out Psychonauts 2. I'd love for you to join me on stream. I'm having a ton of fun with it. The one rumor I heard was that apparently without Microsoft's funding, they wouldn't have been able to do boss battles and they would have been cut from the game.
That would have been brutal.
No, that would have been perfect. I hate the boss battles.
No, more game is good game, right? That's how that works.
That's how it works.
I think, you know what the problem is, some of these levels too, like during this session, this is a shorter level I'm on, but then I went into the next level where I found Psykin, who actually took me a second before I realized it was Jack Black voicing Psykin. Because of course Jack Black has to be in the game.
Of course, he has to.
as we were just speaking of Brutal Legend. But then the level almost took me 2 hours to beat.
Can confirm I'm installing Brutal Legend right now alongside Marvel's Avengers for the Xbox because why not?
I also have that
Get
installed
those
on my
Chivos.
Xbox. So, anyway, so yeah, check it out. I'd love for you to join me Tuesday or Thursday tomorrow at 9 and subsequent Thursdays until I'm done playing this game.
Great.
What's next?
I have sorry, hold on. Before we move on to what's next, I want to ask you a quick little question.
Yep.
You talk about, being a little bit disappointed with the combat in this game, disappointed in the boss battles. When Psychonauts 2 first came out, people were with awash with praise over its level of quality. And, now reflecting back on the game a few months later, do you feel like the game was properly rated at the time of its release? Do you kind of contend that the game, despite its faults, is still like a game of the year-ish contender in the way that people were claiming it to be at the time?
I think there were certain people talking about it being game of the year. That being said, I don't think it's a game of the year candidate, and I don't think it will be discussed as a game of the year candidate. We'll see. If you're going to compare mascot games, and I've not played Kena at all, but similar style mascot games, I'd put Ratchet and Clank ahead of this at this point.
I do this. I do the same for Kena. For what it's worth, I put Ratchet ahead of that for sure.
I think this is a fun collectathon, and it's a really cool world. But I think the combat misses it, and that's such an integral part of the game. Unfortunately, is that you're constantly in these battles, and I can't see myself thinking a game is game of the year when I'm sighing when I get into combat.
I asked that in part because I'm looking at the rest of my schedule for the rest of the year, and for the first time in quite some time, I feel like if I play my cards right, I might actually have the opportunity to play a plurality of the games that are going to be considered game of the year. I recently just completed Metroid Dread, which we'll get to in a moment. I'm on track to complete all the Halos that will prepare me for the release of Halo Infinite come December. And
December 8th, let's go!
I definitely have enough time to dig into games like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart and Deathloop, which just saw its release fairly recently. And just something I'm kind of contemplating in my mind right now, and I kind of wanted to know if you felt like I was about to say the Raz, but that's the name of the protagonist of Psychonauts. Yeah. If you felt like Psychonauts 2 fitted into that sort of hollowed hall, but the impression I'm getting is not really.
No, I'm having fun with it, and I'm going to continue to play because I am having a good time, and I like seeing the story. I don't know if this is you must play for game of the year. I still think you should play it at some point. I wouldn't not play it. I think it's a good game, but if you're trying to get game of the year stuff in, I don't think this will be on that short list for a lot of people.
Give Returnal a shot before you discount it for game of the year stuff.
Yeah,
honestly, for me, I feel like that is leaps above anything I've played thus far this year, and today, that would probably be my game of the year.
Speaking of game of the year, you mentioned it earlier, Metroid.
Yes,
Cozy, you finished it.
I did. I finished Metroid Dread, and I went back and 100%ed it. Let me tell you, some pretty devious environmental puzzles that you need to solve in that game to get all 100% of the items in it. Definitely way more of a challenge than anything that was in Metroid Samus Returns, which I got out of the way before I got into this one. Overall, I gotta say, when I completed that game, I was like, all right, that was pretty good. That final boss was challenging, but with many attempts, I managed to muscle my way through it. And I feel like over the course of the past week, I've found my energy levels and positive feelings about this game to have remained pretty consistently high, in large part because of a lot of the kind of cool things people have been uncovering about this game, cool things that people have been cracking open about its design. I'm not going to get into everything that I've been looking into in this game, because some of it is a little bit kind of spoilery. But one really kind of cool video that I did want to highlight just very quickly here is this YouTube video from Nintendo World Report TV. Basically, in Metroid Samus Returns, I will not show any other parts of the video because that contains some pretty spoilery stuff, but I will show this part right here. There's sort of like this unique made-up Chozo language that you see inscribed on like various parts of the game, elevators, and also occasionally spoken by certain NPCs. And initially it was believed that the language was entirely gibberish, but through some like really kind of expert level sleuthing and also the release of some official Nintendo merchandise that kind of served as an inadvertent Rosetta Stone, they were actually able to kind of attribute many of the letters of this made-up language to letters of our alphabet, and based on that have kind of been able to break open a lot of the previously unclear and obscure bits of language in this game. And it's like I said, I feel like my sentiments on Metroid Dread have remained high over the course of the past week, and it's discovering that fans have been able to discover stuff like this about the game that really has resulted in those energy levels remaining this high. It's knowing and discovering that, oh man, I had a great time discovering all of my little secrets that I discovered in Dread, and holy shit, there's so much more than even I knew about. There's so much more thought and care that went into this game than I even initially thought.
Mitch, you were going to say something?
So yeah.
I was going to say something as I believe the only other person on this show to have played and beaten Metroid Dread, which I did do the weekend it released. I couldn't put it down. I agree with everything you say, Cozy, but I did also say, like not 5 minutes ago, that Returnal is probably my game of the year.
Okay.
And there's a reason why it is my game of the year over something like Metroid. And the reason is the Emmy combat is terrible. I did not I get the name of the game.
When
Metroid
you say
Dread.
Emmy combat, you mean like the Emmy avoidance segments, because you don't really fight the Emmys in that way.
Well, you do. Well, kind of, and those pieces of the story are also very annoying, because I don't know what it is with me or this game, but the windows for blocking the Emmys are so small that as soon as it catches up to you, you are dead and have to restart from your last checkpoint. And I don't appreciate that kind of, like, I get that it's made to be difficult and to evoke this sense of dread, but for me, it became tedious by the end of the game. As did that final boss fight. It took me far more attempts than I would care to admit to get through that fight. I still absolutely adore the game. I had a great time with it, but there's just something about it there, that difficulty, like that barrier, and how kind of convoluted the controls can get by the end of the game, and having to figure out, I mean, it's similar to other Metroid games of, the 2D Metroid and having to angle your shots in specific ways to even hit the boss, and your conservation of ammo and how that plays into how long the boss fights may or may not take you. It's a little not dated, but it's a little overdone, I think, at this point with the series. And I would love to see them take the 2D Metroid formula and really modernize it in a way that they haven't thus far.
Have you had any inkling to play the game again and give it another go with the knowledge that you have? Sorry, I don't know if you were...
I'm still here.
Okay,
I'm still here. I was just a little distracted by someone turning on the fireplace behind me.
Not a problem. Yeah, I'm just curious, like, have you had any inkling to kind of go back to the game and use the kind of institutional knowledge that you gained playing through it and beating it to see if you can, like, play it more effectively, or perhaps even, like, attempt some sequence breaks or anything of that nature?
No. There's too many games. I beat the game. Game's done. Game's great. There's other games that got to get played.
Because, like, the last thing I'll say on Metroid Dread before we move on is, like, again, I won't go into any specific spoilers because we can get pretty spoilery pretty fast when we talk about the sequence breaks in this game. But, like, this is one of the few games and one of the few games in the Metroid series where I have kind of dug into some of the sequence breaks that people have been able to pull off in this game, and it has gotten me really motivated to go back and give it another swing and see what I can do playing the game a little bit out of order. I'm not going to be playing it again quite so right away because I want to give my body a little bit of time to breathe after the intensity of that, as you said, Mitch, pretty brutal final boss battle. But like, I'm really motivated to eventually check out this game again, which I feel speaks pretty highly of this experience, because as you all know, I love PlayStation trophies. Typically, if I'm playing a game twice, it's only to get that platinum. And so the fact that I'm willing to actually play a Switch game, a game without trophies, again, is pretty unusual.
Cool.
All right.
Quick question. Sorry, before we go on.
Sure.
I talked about my Super Metroid experience last week. Anyways, just a quick question.
Yes.
Is there a point of no return?
No.
In this game? There isn't? Okay, that's pissed me off about Super Metroid when I couldn't go back and do anything else.
Yeah, that was
I won't spoil it. There is a segment in the game that will block off a large portion of the map, but you do end up clearing that before you end up at the end of the game. So you can go back, but there's one part where some things are blocked off because of the state of the environment.
Okay.
Yeah. It's actually quite reminiscent of another segment in Metroid Fusion, but we're getting a little bit all over the place.
Yep. All right, let's keep going.
All right. So, just to kind of wrap things up here, Mitch, I'm going to throw it to you. You've got two, technically three things left on this list here. I'll let you attack it at any order, and then we will get into the DC Fandome stuff.
Y'all know I love Disney. Y'all know I love Disney Plus. Disney Plus is the most used streaming service in my house. So much so that I host another podcast, Disney Plus Us, all about the great content that on that their Disney Plus streaming service.
Check it out.
Two things I want to recommend to anyone who has Disney Plus, and if you don't, why not? Muppets Haunted Mansion. Muppets Haunted Mansion is one of the best pieces of Muppets content they've ever made. It is an hour-long short TV film, basically, where Gonzo and Pepe are going through what is essentially the Haunted Mansion attraction. Tons of celebrity guests, tons of adult humor that still works for kids. It's so much fun. The cameos are out of this world. The Game Awards' very own Jeff Keighley has an appearance in the thing for some reason. It's really good. Definitely.
It's got Batman.
It does have Batman. Will Arnett plays a pretty prominent role in the. I had to think for a second. Who's Bat? Oh yeah. I'm surprised. I feel like Darren Criss at some point will also play Batman. I don't know why. I just get that vibe from him. But no,
we'll talk
it's
more
phenomenal.
About Batman
yeah, if you're we will. If you're into the Muppets at all, you enjoy that style of comedy. If you're into Disney parks and Disney attractions at all, there's a lot of in-humor for those folks that are into that stuff, and it's really, really good. And it's like an hour, so you're not losing a ton of time to watch it. Tons of great music. The musical numbers, like most Muppet productions, are very good. Definitely give that one a shot if you've got Disney Plus. The other one is one that's available on the Star banner. So if you're in the US, it should be available for you.
Quick question.
Sorry, go ahead.
During Muppets Haunted Mansion, is there a part where they're riding around on the interior roller coaster and someone on the PA says, "Would you please stop taking flash photography"?
No, but there is a moment that does involve a Doom buggy, which is the attraction's vehicle, like the name of the vehicle in the Haunted Mansion attraction. That is a lot of fun, and I don't want to spoil it here for those who haven't seen it, but if you see it, you'll see it. And if you need me to explain why that's such a fun joke related to the attraction, hit me up on Twitter. DMs are open at Mr. Mitch George, or find me on Discord, anywhere. Happy to gush about Disney all day. And if you do watch that, do go check out the episode of Disney Plus Us that I recorded with my co-host Griffin, with our very special guest, my wife, because she is the biggest Muppets. Funny, she's the biggest Muppets fan I know. We had a blast recording that in our Halloween costumes, our couple's Halloween costume, which I'm sure you'll get a photo of post Halloween. So,
all right,
that's Muppets Haunted Mansion. So do check that out. The second piece of content available on the Star banner. So for those of you in the US, it would be available for you on Hulu. Only Murders in the Building. The season finale went up this week. This is a comedy, like, I don't know what you want to call it. It's Yeah, it's kind of a dramedy. Like there's a murder. Yeah, as you can hear my wife telling you all in the background. She's cold, so she's sitting by the fireplace. It's a murder mystery, but it stars Martin Short, Steve Martin, and Selena Gomez solving a murder in their building. And they start a podcast about the murder in their building. So it's kind of meta since I record podcasts. And it was a blast. I think this first season was really well done. Ends on a really interesting note. And we already have a confirmed season 2. So if you at all enjoy the comedy stylings of Martin Short, Steve Martin, it's definitely worth checking out. And even if you don't enjoy their style of comedy, I still think there's something there for everyone. It's a really, really well-made show.
Yeah, I think my wife and I could probably switch after we're done season 3 of You. We can maybe switch over to this.
It's only 10 episodes. Episodes are anywhere from 30 minutes to like 45.
Oh, good. Not too huge.
So no, it's not a huge time commitment at all. It's really good.
Good. Cool. No, it looks good. I've had this recommended by some of my neighbors as well, so I'll check it out.
Yeah, I hope definitely do check that one out.
I hope that season 2 of the show is like season 2 of the podcast Serial, where it's like we already kind of solved the murder in the building. So what if we transitioned over to this other completely unrelated thing? And everyone's like, no, go back to the first thing. And then they try to like manufacture a new murder inside the building. I want them to get
I'm not
really meta with it.
I don't want to spoil anything, but just watch season 1 and you'll understand at least where season 2 is going to start.
They start a Patreon.
No, but Tina Fey's also in it as like this iconic podcaster, like a very like think of like the team behind that one you just mentioned that I forget the name of, and it was 30 seconds ago. But Serial, yes, thank you. Think like the investigative reporter behind that. Tina Fey kind of plays that role in this story, and she's great in what little screen time she does get. Like, it's really good. It's really, really good.
I do love Serial, so I'll check this out. I appreciate the recommendation, Mitch.
Yeah, definitely check that one out. And the third thing was something that I added to the thing as we were recording because I found it and it looks great. And I saw a friend of ours, Spooner, who did our show logo. He was looking at this last night because he pre-ordered it. And that is the like embossed omnibus of the story behind the making of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And for someone like me that is as invested in that universe as I am, it wouldn't have made sense for me to not own this. But I did have to deal with my wife to make sure that it was okay for me to buy it because it's hella expensive, but it's worth it. And I can't wait to get it here and I'll show it off probably next week. Should be here by the end of this week. So
do an unboxing.
We'll do an unboxing.
Sweet.
Awesome.
All right. That's all I got.
Thanks everybody for that. Should we start talking a little bit about all the fun DC news that happened at the DC Fandome?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Before we start talking about things individually, can we just say that Fandome 2 years in a row now has been a banner? They've put out some good content and good trailers. And as somebody who's a big DC fanboy, I feel like we're on track. I feel it.
Shout out to DC for taking the name Fandome, which sounds like a product that's destined to not totally work out, and actually really kind of making it work out. Like that I don't, am I alone in thinking that like Fandome sounds like one of those weird made up words that you try to get to catch on, like transferring, but then everybody makes fun of you for it?
Synergy. All words are made up. Every word is made up. It's fine. Do whatever you want.
It's definitely a little bit harkens back to like fetch, but not in a grading way. So
I really appreciate that they actually have a dome that everybody's in as they're doing this. They're literally in a dome.
It's a real dome, by the way.
I wish we got, like, as someone who is an unabashed MCU and Disney fanboy, I wish we had more stuff like this related to that content. I know we got something last year, and they've got announcements teased for Disney Plus Day on November 12th, as well as a ton of content dropping. But at the same time, like, I kind of wish they'd be like, yeah, this is going to be Comic-Con, but for Marvel. And we're going to talk about everything Marvel, not just movie stuff, not just Disney Plus stuff, but they get into the game side of things, the actual comics, the stories they're telling. AJ just disappeared and I'm confused, but I'll keep going.
I'm good.
I wish we could get something like that, and I understand that Disney needs to focus on the products to make them the most money, which is the movies, it's the parks. So letting their teams take these other things, the comics, the games, the TV shows, that sort of thing, to other mediums. I get it, but I wish we had this like one. I want the Disney fandom at some point where it is just, we're going to run through everything: games, movies, comics, television, books. I got the tie-in to the Star Wars Ronin, the Star Wars Visions episode focused on the Ronin. There's a tie-in novel that I didn't even know was coming out until we've recorded an episode of Disney Plus Us. And now I want to go and read that, because it's like all of this stuff exists. It's just they need to get that news out there. I didn't know this Marvel omnibus existed until I saw Spooner with it yesterday. I wish there was more places to find out this stuff. For someone like me who's in the know, but maybe not as deep in the trenches to know that some of these very niche products exist, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. I get that. So the DC fandom, so here's what I think we need to do. I didn't watch the entire thing. There's not a lot of DC stuff that I really care about these days, other than anything Batman related, specifically anything like Michael Keaton Batman related, which we got a little bit of.
No, they weren't
Nathan,
teasing Batman.
What?
Yo.
Of course. Nathan, you being the resident DC fanboy,
Yep.
would you kindly take the reins for this topic of the show this evening, so that we can kind of get through it in one piece?
Okay. Let's talk about it. Let's start off. Actually, let's transition back and forth, because I think we discussed the 3 movie trailers we want to go over, as well as the video games. So let's sandwich the video games in between the movies.
Currently, The Flash is on the screen right now. So
for those watching, if not, we're just going to talk you through the Flash trailer. If you haven't seen it, go check it out.
Yep. So currently we are watching the Flash trailer. So this is Ezra Miller. I believe I'm saying his name right. Ezra Miller playing the Flash from the Justice League movie, which was phenomenal, is my understanding.
Not my understanding, but go on.
Zack
Maybe the
Snyder's
Snyder
Justice
cut
League was phenomenal.
So
it was great.
So obviously we are bringing the multiverse into the DC universe, as we are now in Batman 89's universe. We are hearing Michael Keaton's voiceover. We are seeing pictures of the mansion from the 89 movie, as well as relics from the house. You also see, it's hidden in the details, because I did watch some trailer breakdowns of this. When you see there's Supergirl and Ezra Miller, but behind him is a different Ezra Miller, and he's in a painted bat suit that has the Flash logo painted over top of it.
1989 batsuit.
The people who noticed that, because I saw the news stories about that as well, they must have microscopes powered by space diamonds, because I don't know how in the world you could focus in on that looking at the trailer.
I hadn't seen it until you guys mentioned it just now.
So and we've got Supergirl. So we're obviously pairing a bunch of different multiverse characters together in this, and this is kind of gonna make every DC movie canon, would be my guess. So
how dumb is it though that the first Flash movie they're doing is to reset the entire timeline?
It's probably the right thing to do with where the movies have been.
It is where the movies have been, but also this isn't the way to introduce a character like this. Like, if you think of this as just the Flash movie, I want to know why the Flash is the Flash. I don't want to be like, they 30 seconds of, my mom died 20 years ago, so now I'm going to go back in time and fix it. Like,
there's a motivational thing. I'm actually surprised they didn't call it Flashpoint, because they're borrowing quite a bit from the Flashpoint event from the DC Comics for this.
Absolutely.
Which ironically enough, Michael Keaton is taking the place of Thomas Wayne in the Flashpoint universe, who was Batman's dad when Bruce Wayne was gunned down instead in the alley, and Thomas became Batman. So,
if you haven't, go and watch the Flashpoint Paradox animated film that DC put out like 10 years ago. Because I would no, you know what, Nathan? Right now, I will bet you a $50 video game gift card of your choice that animated film is a better movie than this Flash movie.
Oh no, you're probably right.
I know I am. That's why I made the bet.
You're probably right.
Mentioned how this movie is going to make all the prior DC movies canon. Does that include Catwoman as well?
Probably.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Or not.
We
as long as Green Lantern's canon, I don't care.
Okay. If they're
Green Lantern is canon in the MCU.
If they're if they're taking this as an opportunity to kind of reset everything and reboot everything in some way, shape, or form, in some story, do we see Halle Berry again?
Never in a million years.
Nope. That'll never happen.
This is hold on. I do have an actual serious thing I want to say here. This is like a real deep cut, but during the production of The Dark Knight, George Miller, best known for his work on the Mad Max series and also animated movies like Happy Feet, was actually working on a version of the Justice League movie that never came to fruition. And I'm like, all this multiverse stuff makes me wonder, like, would it at all be possible to like somehow nod to that in some way? Like, is there going to be a sequence where Flash runs through a version of the Justice League, but they're like all on cars and they have people strapped to cars and they're all just trying to kill and maim each other?
Probably not. No, I don't think they're reference projects which were conceptual. And actually, it's too bad that Justice League never happened. I think Common would have been a great John Stewart Green Lantern. Because I believe he was slated to play John Stewart in that production. So so Flash looks exciting. AJ, I know you're excited about Batman 89.
Yep. Yeah. Batman 89 is one of the earliest movies I kind of ever watched. And so I have a very special place in my heart for Michael Keaton, that specific Batman, Kim Basinger, Jack Nicholson as the Joker, hell, even Batman Returns, Danny DeVito as Penguin, and
Michelle
Pfeiffer as Catwoman. Love or hate the movie, Jim Carrey was a great Riddler at the time.
I think that was honestly, that's one of my favorite, at least growing up, it was one of my favorite Batman movies, just because I loved the comedy of Jim Carrey and the color palette that they chose to go with in that Joel Schumacher movie. We won't talk about the other movie he worked on, though.
Yeah,
we won't.
Falling Down.
The Lost Boys? Why don't you want to talk about the Lost Boys?
No, you know what I'm referring to, and we're not going to talk about it. So move on to the next thing.
Oh, okay, St. Elmo's Fire. I'm sorry. Yeah,
St. Elmo's Fire is what we're talking about. Let's move on.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know the order that these happen in. So we've talked about The Flash. Let's do our first video game talking about, and we'll talk about Gotham Knights.
Sure.
So we saw the trailer for Gotham Knights. Now, I was surprised. There is definitely a little bit of gameplay, but this is really a story trailer, which seemed to be what we got for the video games in total here. But yes, this is definitely a Court of Owls based thing, which I've never read the Court of Owls, and I think I might have to go back and read it before this game comes out. But I want to know your guys' thoughts on what you guys thought about the trailer. It's been a long time. This is coming out of the WB Montreal studio, as Mitch had mentioned, worked on Arkham Origins, which a lot of people do like. And I know it's often forgotten when we talk about the Arkham trilogy. And this is not related to the Arkham universe at all. So what are you guys thinking about Gotham Knights? How are you guys feeling?
Before we get into it, Cozy, right-click the video. I know what you're trying to do. Right-click the video. Right at the top there. You're welcome.
They don't make it obvious.
They don't, and that's why I'm here to help. I'm really excited for this game because I love the Arkham games. They're some of my favorite games of all time. I think Arkham City is like my 4th favorite game ever, which is saying a lot when the top 3 are Pokemon Blue, Tetris, and Spider-Man 2018.
Yeah.
So I'm super into what both of these games are doing. Gotham Knights. I love the idea of exploring a Bat story that doesn't star Batman. I love the idea of delving more into the Court of Owls, which is someone who isn't as familiar with the new 52 and some of the things that have come out of that. The Court of Owls is something to me that I've really only experienced through something like Batman versus Robin, the animated film. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they tackle this very interesting take on Gotham City's underbelly. Obviously, Bruce Wayne isn't actually dead, and they're very much in this trailer setting up that he's probably, brainwashed by the Court of Owls or something, but they'll get there when they get there. I love the focus on characters like Red Hood and Batgirl. I think Batgirl's going to get a lot of love, and did actually in the DC Fandome, where they had that whole segment on the upcoming film. I'm so looking forward to getting into this, playing it with friends. We know already that this is going to be a multiplayer experience, which we don't know for Suicide Squad, even though I would factor that it probably is.
No, they've said Suicide Squad will be multiplayer. We can come back to that.
Have they? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I think what we've seen thus far from the story, thankfully they haven't given much away, which I'm very happy about. We know it's Court of Owls. We know Penguin's involved in some way. And we know who it's going to star. I'm glad they didn't put a date on it because I want them to know when it's coming out before they tell us when it's coming out. Thank you. Shout out to the big release from next week, which I hope to have some thoughts on before our next podcast. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which drops on Tuesday, which everyone is forgetting about, but it drops next fucking Tuesday.
Really?
For not telling us that the game was coming out until they knew the game was coming out. So I really hope that they do hold the release date for this and for Suicide Squad until they know exactly when it's coming. I would imagine right now their plan is probably Q1, maybe Q2 for Gotham Knights and Q4 for Suicide Squad, which will inevitably slip to 2023, but we'll get there when we get there.
So, Cozy, your thoughts?
Unfortunately, I've not read the original Court of Owls Batman comic book storyline, so I can't, claim that I'm hyped for the game based on that. I do know, though, that story in particular is a story that kind of bores deeply into Batman's psyche, and so I do kind of wonder how this game's sort of deep dive into the Court of Owls is going to fare without Batman being at the center of it, at least, not at the center of it for, like, you presume 90% of the game. Do you feel like Batman's sort of like Bat family can carry that stuff on their own, or do you feel like Batman's presence is going to be potentially missed?
I think it depends upon who you talk to. If you've got somebody who wants to play as Batman, I think they'll be disappointed that Batman's not initially playable. I assume he will be playable at some point, or maybe he won't be. That being said, the Bat family, I guess, is a very good cast of characters because, like, you've got Jason Todd, Red Hood, Dick as Nightwing. I assume it's Tim Drake as Robin.
I thought it was Damian.
It could be Damian.
I'll look it up.
Okay. Actually, based on the haircut, that actually might be Damian. Damian is Robin, who is Bruce Wayne's son. And then we've got Barbara Gordon as Batgirl. And they're all compelling characters. I guess it comes down to, did they tell a good story? And that's what we need to know.
It is not Damian Wayne's Robin. It is Tim Drake. So it's
okay.
Dick Grayson, Barbara Gordon, Tim Drake, and Jason Todd. If you've played the Arkham games, you will know, based on the fact that Barbara Gordon is in this and is Batgirl, that these games do not take place in that universe because she is Oracle in those games. Which, if what was that? The Killing Joke, I believe it was.
Yes, right? Where she was shot.
She was shot and paralyzed in the comics. So this is not in the Arkham universe. They're telling their own separate story from the Arkham games, which I think is the right approach. I hate going back to it, but if you have not, DC's animated stuff, their animated films are so goddamn good.
Anything DC animation does is good.
Harley Quinn. I've paid $20 per season to buy Harley Quinn on iTunes, and it was worth it. That is such a good show. And for me, my favorite DC animated film of all time is Batman Under the Red Hood, which is a very much a Jason Todd Red Hood story. Yes. If you have not seen that, it is so goddamn good. Please do yourself a favor. Find a way to watch that, because I've bought it on iTunes. It's really friggin' good.
Jason Ackles voices Red Hood in that, correct?
Jensen Ackles is Red Hood in that, yeah.
Or Jensen, sorry, Jensen Ackles.
Jensen, yeah.
Yeah. No. So, I'm hyped. AJ, thoughts before we move on?
Yeah. So it's not exactly something that I paid much attention to. Just based on what I was seeing here and what you guys have been saying, I'm kind of excited to like potentially play Gotham Knights with you guys. So, yeah, once again, like it's really only like the new Batman movie and the Flash trailer that I actually gave any sort of interest in. So
okay, cool. All right, well, yeah. We'll move on. AJ, if you want to put any commentary, let us know.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
So we'll jump into so we've done video games. So what do we got lined up next? Peacemaker. Is that what I see? Let's do Peacemaker. So Peacemaker is a spin-off of John Cena's character from Suicide Squad. I believe this is a prequel to Suicide Squad.
Nope.
It's a post?
Yep.
Okay. So this is going to be a 10-episode HBO Max series.
I'll look it up for you. But
I think 10 episodes is correct. But yeah,
right.
So it's going to be on HBO Max. I think this is going to be hilarious. I laughed so hard during this trailer. The fact that we get Vigilante as an on-screen character, I don't care if it's not a movie. Vigilante is an on-screen character in this movie is amazing to me.
Well, what issues did you have with Vigilante in the Arrowverse? Come on.
I haven't watched any of the Arrowverse stuff.
You should. You're probably better off, honestly.
Yeah.
Some of it's good. Some of it's not great.
It starts off strong and then it doesn't go great, is my understanding. But yeah, Vigilante looks good. He has a Deadpool-esque feel to it, but the entire trailer is good. John Cena is a frickin' national treasure, and I think he's figured out how to balance being a goofball. Was it Trainwreck he was in with Amy Schumer where he was kind of like figuring that out for him?
He was very good in the movie Blockers. If you haven't seen that.
I haven't seen that. I want to watch Blockers.
I think it's on Crave, and if it's not, it's got to be somewhere. Definitely do watch it because it's one of the funniest movies I think that's come out in the last few years.
Okay. But yeah, so Peacemaker, just a simple 10-episode run. It looks
to me via IMDb and Wikipedia, which take those with a grain of salt as legitimate sources. 8 episodes.
8 episodes. Okay. Even better.
Premiering January 13th.
Yes, this is coming up. This is coming soon. And so quickly after Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad movie was awesome. The current one, not the original one.
That I did see that it was very good.
I really enjoyed it.
John Cena was phenomenal in it, and he is like taking that role even further here. So I'm really curious to see. The trailer hits on pretty much all of the jokes on it. I couldn't stop laughing during the butt baby part.
John Cena and Tidy Whities is a national treasure. So
yes, yeah, John Cena and Tidy Whities is amazing. The eagle is freaking amazing. Even the section where they're all walking, and I didn't even notice at first, but the eagle's walking in the bottom corner beside them.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me grab it. Here we go.
I didn't see that until just now.
So.
Oh, I can't wait. Honestly, at this point, anything James Gunn touches, I'm going to want to see.
Yes, and he has written and directed all of this, is my understanding.
He hasn't directed
somebody else.
He wrote the whole series. He directed 5 of the 8 episodes.
So I do appreciate a universe where we can have James Gunn working with DC and with Marvel, producing great content. So switching back and forth.
Next year we'll get 2 James Gunn comic book properties on screen, and on the small screen at least, with Peacemaker coming to HBO Max and presumably in Canada, I don't know, Crave or Showcase or something like that. We don't know how that's going to be distributed yet in Canada, which is unfortunate.
Yep.
But we do know that next December, because we know Chris Pratt is love him or hate him, announced via, I think it was his Instagram or his TikTok, that Guardians 3 has started filming. And in filming Guardians 3, they are still filming Guardians of the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Oh,
So
is that
we
not
know we're
coming
getting
this
that-
year?
That is next year. We're getting the holiday special
Oh.
next year.
I thought that was
Next
this year.
holiday. No, so the holiday special is holiday 2022, and then the
Okay.
movie I think is like May 2023. I don't think it got shuffled around in the new dates that Marvel announced this week.
Okay. If they don't riff off the Star Wars holiday special,
It's
They-
James Gunn.
that's
You know they will.
yes,
They have to.
They have to touch it. So yeah, no. So this looks like a lot of fun. I'm excited about this. DC's hitting on all cylinders. So
I do want to
go
ask
ahead, Cozy.
a quick little question about the eagle. So it is illegal to keep a bald eagle as a pet in the United States, and I'm assuming that a very similar law exists here in Canada. I went on Quora.com, the repository for all information in the world, and Kirk A. Janowiak, a wildlife biologist and educator, said that you may receive training and certification as a wildlife rehabilitator, receive training and certification as a raptor rehabilitator, and then keep a wounded or damaged eagle for the purposes of rehabilitating the bird if you should so want to own one of these majestic fowls. Do we think that this TV series would all touch upon the legality or lack thereof of him owning an eagle? Do we think that it will reveal that he actually has raptor certification training?
No, it'll reveal that he's an asshole and he's a criminal and he stole this eagle from a zoo or some shit.
yeah. There will be a much less legal way as to why he has the eagle. But I am glad he has the eagle.
He is in the Suicide Squad. He is not a good person.
Yeah. So he kills people for America.
I can also see a universe though where he actually does have raptor certification training. Because what's that one line from the trailer? He's like, "I'll eat like 1,000 bags of dicks for liberty."
Yeah.
Like he seems like he's
Suicide Squad.
when he gets his mindset on something, he seems like he's really committed and willing to go all the way there. Maybe he got in his head, if he wants to be the ultimate representation of liberty in America, he needs to own an eagle, and he was just like, well, I better do everything in my power I can to own an eagle.
Well, we're still a little while away from January, but I'm excited for Peacemaker. I think it's going to be fantastic.
I just want to know how to watch it in Canada. I don't want to have to keep using VPN and an HBO Max account I borrowed from a friend. Thank you, Rob. Go ahead.
Thanks, Rob. Okay, so let's transition to something that's coming in 2022 to something that's likely going to be 2023 and talk about the new Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League title. Now this... Sorry, go ahead, Mitch.
I was just going to say, their use of licensed music here, Cozy, don't put sound through. I don't think you have been.
I have not been putting sound through any of these videos. There was
Good call.
A brief moment in one of the gameplay videos I showed earlier where you could hear sound for a second, but no, typically I will not show sound unless show sound. That's not the right verb. Anyways, you don't have anything to worry about, Mitch. Nothing to worry about.
This has a great licensed music track. So definitely go and check out this trailer outside of us talking about it because it's really good. And this one does take place in the Arkham universe. They've retconned some stuff from the previous Rocksteady games, but this one does exist in the same universe, which I'm excited to see how that goes.
Yes.
Sorry. Go ahead, Nathan.
No problem. Sorry. So this is Rocksteady. This is the long-awaited Rocksteady game that we've been waiting on since Arkham Knight. Definitely a different take, as this is going to be a 4-player co-op game that you can play solo. And you get to play as 4 members of the Suicide Squad, 4 fan favorites. You've got Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, King Shark, and Deadshot. So, yeah, no, I'm excited about this. The trailer hit me in all the right ways. I think the humor was really fun. The bit at the end with the penguin was amazing. Mitch, what were your thoughts on it?
I'm so ready for this. Rocksteady has done such great work in the DC universe that I'm ready to jump right into the boots of Captain Boomerang, all his snarkiness and the boomerangs and presumably some tech he stole from the Flash to be super fast or something. I'm so down to try these different characters, figure out what their different abilities are like. This is what I would have liked to have seen the Guardians game be. Like, we know the Guardians game coming next week. You are Star-Lord, and you direct the rest of your squad. I would have loved a multiplayer game in that same world, but we'll see next week if that decision made the most sense for that title. I'm excited to jump into this with friends. I'm already like seeing this trailer. I'm messaging people. I'm like, we're playing this, right? Like, this is a no doubt day one. Like, we're going to jump in. Everyone's going to call dibs on Harley or Shark or
Deadshot.
Deadshot. Yeah. They confused me because they replaced him in the Suicide Squad. I'm like, they're the same character. So I keep getting them confused.
No, Mitch
and Boomerang.
Would you be more or less excited for this game if it was revealed that its gameplay is going to be Marvel's Avengers 2.0?
I loved Marvel's Avengers.
Yes,
I had a great time with the gameplay.
Excited.
Like, I think the end game of that didn't do so well. So I think if they deliver a really great, 15 to 20 hour story driven experience that isn't games as a service, then great. And if it is not that, then I don't think this has legs to stand on versus something like Marvel's Avengers, because that IP will bring people back to that game. Like, just the introduction of Black Panther brought a lot of people back, played the content, and then bounced. If they're trying to go games as a service with this game and introducing new members of the Suicide Squad, people aren't going to be as excited to jump into this for Polka Dot Man as they are to jump into Avengers with Black Panther.
For the record, I would love Polka Dot Man. If we could get Condiment King in there, that would be great. That being said, I actually don't think that's how. So we've seen no gameplay. We really have no idea what this is beyond it being a solo or 4-player co-op game.
Like, genuine question: has there been like any scuttlebutt at all? Any rumors? Any leaks? Like, outlining what the deal is with this game, gameplay wise?
Not that I have seen at this point. My best
there
guess.
haven't been any like Reset era leaks or anything of that nature.
There's an article I found from Screen Rant from last year when this was originally announced at DC Fandome, saying that the whole game can be played single player or multiplayer, jump in, jump out. The whole experience is built to be played either way. But that's all I've really got.
Here's my thoughts. This is Borderlands. Drop in and drop out co-op with a story.
It is, but you can also swap between characters on the fly.
Oh,
so I feel like that's what this article says.
But if you're playing 4-player, you wouldn't be swapping between characters.
No. But it sounds more reminiscent of something like X-Men Legends or Marvel's Ultimate Alliance rather than Avengers or Borderlands. It's just going for that comedic tone. I also love the fact that we got the Gizmo, I think is his name.
Yes,
the
Gizmo
character from Teen Titans. Like,
yep,
that's cool.
I didn't know that was Gizmo at first, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, AJ had his hand up. I just want to make sure he gets his time.
No, I want to see the King Shark from the movie and the King Shark from this game interact, and like I want to see, like in a multiverse scenario, I want to see them interact with each other.
That is Travis
the one
Willingham,
in the game,
right?
Maybe.
Wait, King Shark?
Yeah, it's got to be, right?
No, King Shark's being played by Samoa Joe.
In this game?
Yep.
Oh.
Samoa Joe's voicing King Shark in this game.
I didn't hear that at all. I heard Travis
Willingham.
That was announced last year. Him. Yeah, I totally forgot that.
Yeah, so Samoa Joe's playing King Shark in this title. I think that could be cool. I'd like to see. King Shark has become a fan favorite over the past few years, especially with his appearance in Suicide Squad. And I think, did we know about him in this game before the Suicide Squad trailer? Because we didn't. I guess the Suicide Squad trailer hit in Fandome last year.
I think the exact same time.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that I really like here is Deborah Wilson as Waller. Who you will all remember from Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, I was just saying Mad TV.
Well, Mad TV, but I meant more recently in her video game, in the video game sphere.
Gotcha.
I think she's really great. So I'm excited to see what her take on Waller is like. I'm super jazzed for this game. I'm really excited to play it. I just don't know what the game is going to end up being like post launch. And that's what I worry about.
I will say, to give like a less of a cynical take than I gave earlier, like, over the course of the past few years, we've seen developers loosen up a bit on the need to make everything a games as service. Perhaps, most famously, BioWare, and this is all hearsay and rumors, nothing officially confirmed, but supposedly BioWare was given the go-ahead to no longer have the fourth Dragon Age game be a games as a service after Anthem kind of blew up in their face and EA realized that there was real potential still in single player experiences like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So there's part of me that wonders if there was a period in time where Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was more of that kind of games as a service like experience, and the game that we will eventually get will be, as Nathan described, more of a Borderlands-like experience where multiplayer is still a big part of it, but it is still much more enjoyable and much more fulfilling as a single-player experience.
Yeah, we'll see more about this year, because I don't think it's coming in 2023 or next year. We'll see more of this next year, or not 2023. It's not going to come in 2020. So,
don't worry. I'm back.
Okay. You're back. Sweet.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up while we've gotten any confirmation of whether this game is live service or not, and I can't really find anything. But I mean, they confirmed that Gotham Knights isn't going to be live service, so people are kind of assuming the same of this.
Yeah.
They've said they've talked time and time again about how this game focuses on 4 characters. So if it were live service and introducing new characters, new game modes, and things like that, then they wouldn't be making statements like that, I would assume, until they're ready to reveal that, maybe. But I would imagine this is more into something like, Ultimate Alliance, but only having those 4 characters that they're focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down for. I'm really excited for these characters. So
yeah,
if you haven't, check out the animated Harley Quinn show, because I think that version of King Shark is the best version of King Shark we've ever gotten from DC. Period.
I still haven't watched that, so I should actually watch that.
Do it.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna leave the Batman for last, because I think that's the biggest, meatiest trailer to get into. So let's just quickly touch base on a film I can't believe that's happening. We're getting The Rock in a Black Adam film.
Super Pets. Oh.
No, not.
Yeah, that's happening too, I guess.
Isn't that a TV show though?
No, it's a movie.
Oh, okay.
Also starring The Rock. So I mean, whatever.
So apparently I should watch that trailer, because I did not watch that trailer at all.
It's DC Super Pets. It's Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Kevin Hart being themselves, but as Crypto and
Ace,
the
Bat Hound.
Yeah, it looks fun. It looks very akin to something like Secret Life of Pets, but that's about it.
Okay, I'll have to show my boys.
Yeah. There's a game tying into it.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. And they also announced at the DC Kids Fandome that they're adding Batman content to Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Yes, I did see that. I've enjoyed my time with Hot Wheels Unleashed quite a bit, so I'm excited to get the Batman content, because apparently you get to ride around the whole Batcave, and they'll have
they're adding the Batcave as a track. Yeah.
So anyway, so let's talk Black Adam for a second. The Rock has been trying to get this movie made for what seems like 15 years. He's been talking about trying to play Black Adam. If you're unaware, Black Adam is a rogue of the superhero named Captain Marvel, now named Shazam, because there was some legal issues, and they just decided to change his name to Shazam, even though he was well before Marvel's Captain Marvel. So he's the villain. His name is Teth Adam, and he's from Egypt. So I'm curious to see what this looks like. He has very similar powers to Shazam, but they are slightly different. But there is no way that this doesn't cross over into the the Shazam 3 as an origin story for his. Well, Shazam 2, The Fury of the Gods, is the next one. And I think he will not be in that one because they've got this film coming still. But then he'll be in the third Shazam movie.
Right. He'll show up as a teaser at the end of the second one, teasing his appearance in the third, presumably.
Mm-hmm. But it just looks badass. He looks badass. I love the fact that this has been a passion project for Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. And we're getting this. This is something that's actually happening. Also, we've got Pierce Brosnan in it as Dr. Fate. We've got Hawkman in it. Adam Smasher, I believe, is in it.
Yep.
The list of DC B or D characters that we're getting in this movie is fantastic.
Something I had to explain to Carmen when we were watching this trailer is, oh yeah, magic is a thing in the DC universe. Like, it's such a thing that one of Superman's only weaknesses other than kryptonite is magic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the fact they're delving more into that weird side of things has me excited as a DC fan, but then also getting the next trailer that we're going to talk about that is very much not that and is going to be this alternate Earth grounded Batman. Sign me the heck up for all of this. I'm excited just as a fan of comics.
Yeah, it's somebody who's been a DC fan, and maybe we could argue that the DC movies haven't been the highest quality. Like,
they're not good.
Shazam was really good. The original Wonder Woman was really good.
Shazam was fun. Wonder Woman was good.
My mom,
Green Lantern was great.
If you can believe it, my mom has seen Shazam, and I have not.
I saw Shazam in theaters with my mom. It was fun.
Yeah, it's a good time. Shazam's really good. I would check it out. It's one of my favorites. Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad was really good.
Where'd you guys fall on Aquaman?
I enjoyed it. I'm excited to see what they do with the sequel. I think Jason Momoa is great.
I think it's good. It's definitely like when you're looking at the bad ones, I think we're going to have less bad than good now, which is positive. I think this is a switch in the right direction for them.
Aquaman was one of those movies where watching it, I was like, I'd love to watch this like through the eyes of a kid, like side by side with like my hypothetical son, for example, because I feel like they would like hypothetically love it, because the entire time that I was watching it, I was just not vibing with it at all, but appreciating how kind of imaginative and over the top it was, and suspecting that younger DC fans would really resonate with it.
Well, just wait till I'm done my watch of the Marvel movies, because then I can get my kids into the DC movies. Okay. So we just watched Homecoming on the weekend. So now we're going to Thor Ragnarok. We're getting there. We're getting close to the end. But then we've got TV series for them to watch. So
Are you going to have them watch the Netflix stuff or just the Disney Plus stuff?
Just the Disney Plus stuff. I don't think they're old enough for the Netflix stuff.
Okay, so you're going to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter and all the stellar content that we got on TV for the MCU, right?
No, we're just going to watch the Disney Plus shows. The S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't even matter. They've retconned half of it.
They definitely crossed over with the movie like twice.
Yeah.
In 7 seasons.
Okay, so let's talk about why we're all here and what everybody was talking about. And it's the trailer for The Batman. This is the new Batman movie that is starring Robert Pattinson as Batman, who looks phenomenal. I hated Twilight, and I'm disappointed I had to sit through those movies. But he
has grown as an actor so much since those movies. He acts like a completely different person. Even something
audience.
like
Between you and me, audience, I like the first Twilight. Don't let it get to you. Thank you.
Your mic is on and we can all hear you, Cozy.
Audience,
each and every one of us.
Don't tell them. All right, it's just between you and me.
Okay, definitely heard all of that. But I'm just going to ignore it and move on. That movie that came out this past year that people what's his name? Christopher Nolan. That movie that came out that he was in, that someone put onto a Game Boy just to fuck with Christopher Nolan. What was that called again?
Oh, I don't know.
The one with
Tenet.
Tenet, yes.
I think I think I got the name of that backwards, by the way. Somebody might need to cross-check it.
It's a palindrome. We get it. Come on. No, I've really enjoyed his performance in that, and he's been really good in a lot of other things he's done since Twilight. I'm excited to see a younger Bruce Wayne. I say that even though Christian Bale's Batman was meant to be younger, because we saw him right from Batman Begins, but this seems like almost like year one Batman.
This is year two, actually.
He's been Batman for a bit, but he's still pretty new at the whole thing.
Yeah, this is year 2 Batman, so it's very early on in the Batman lore. So it's very exciting to see what's going to happen. Oh, this scene with the gunfire in the Dark Hall.
Yeah.
What I've heard is from some of the trailer breakdowns that I saw is like this is like year 2 Batman.
Yeah,
allegedly. So
yeah,
like very early on.
This was year 2. Riddler looks amazing, although his name's not Edward Nygma. It's a different name. No,
it's still EN something.
Yes. But he's more like a Zodiac killer type character. So I'm curious to see what that looks like. This trailer is very David Finch inspired as well. And I think the movie is going to follow a lot of that feel to it. I can't believe this is Colin Farrell, by the way.
Yeah, neither can I. So Edward Nashton is the name of the character.
Oh.
Okay.
I was kind of hoping it would be like Voldemort, where you rearrange his name and it spells out I am Lord Voldemort, or in this case, like I am the Riddler.
No, so Edward Nashton is the name of the Riddler on New Earth. And over the course of his run in the comics, he does change his name to Edward Nygma. So I imagine by the end of this movie, he is Edward Nygma. And they start to set up the rogues gallery for Batman. Because that's the thing I like to say about DC is DC's strength is its villains, whereas Marvel's strength is its heroes. You can see that in the MCU. A lot of the villains they put in those movies, when there's a really good villain, like Killmonger, like Thanos, even though I don't really think of him as a villain, he was kind of the protagonist of that movie, but we'll get into that at another time. The best thing to come out of DC is the rogues gallery. Batman's rogues gallery, Superman's, Green Lantern's, Flashes, like the rogues are what make DC like spark. You can see that in the fact that the Suicide Squad is one of its best known properties at this point, and that focuses on villains who are some of the best characters in the DC universe. So I'm excited to see what they do with this version of Edward Nygma. I do think he is Edward Nygma by the end of the movie. I'm excited to see where Colin Farrell's Penguin goes. I'm excited to see what Selina Kyle's relationship is with Batman here. Is it going to be the romance we've gotten in the comics? Is it going to be the on again, off again, the betrayal? Like, what are we going to get from that relationship? I'm really excited to see. And I think Zoe Kravitz is a great choice casting her in that role in this movie.
Yeah,
I think she does a great job disappearing into the role.
She looks phenomenal. My
question for y'all is: this is going to be a more grounded Batman. Like,
yes.
This, like, full stop. We're not going to get Mr. Freeze. We're not going to get Poison Ivy. We're not going to get something the more like meta human type.
Here's the deal. I think we could see them, but I think they'll be dramatically different.
My question for y'all, and a question for the chat, a question for our listeners, be sure to let us know on Twitter who you think would make a great rogue for a subsequent sequel to this Batman.
Ooh.
What grounded villain do you think would best fit the vibe of this Batman? And I have a couple in mind, but I want to see what y'all have to say first.
So we just had him in a movie, but Two-Face, I think, would work really well.
He didn't get his time to shine as Two-Face. Like, we saw the transformation in The Dark Knight, so I could see that working for sure.
He definitely got overshadowed by Heath Ledger for sure. But also, like, I think they have to. I want to see the Joker and what they do with it, but they also, it just feels like they need to stay away from it at the same time. Like, somebody tried with Jared Leto, but that was just such a completely different thing. If this is Batman, like year 2 Batman, at some point he has to see the Joker. And we've seen it grounded before. You could do it grounded again, but some of the kind of funny reactions that I saw, the kind of funny vids reactions, they akined it to a mix between Nolan's Batman in its gritty realism and groundedness of it, but inspired by the animated series. In lots of ways. So I can see cartoonish Joker appearing at some point, who is not too dissimilar from a
Jack Nicholson.
Not even Jack Nicholson, but Mark Hamill, but perhaps more as he's portrayed in the Arkham games.
The crime boss Joker, not the maniac Joker. So yeah, more like the Arkham games, what we got in the animated series. And I would argue Nicholson's Joker ends up doing that as well. I think that'd be a good juxtaposition to this version of the Batman. Cozy, what villains would you like to see in a more grounded sequel, inevitable sequel to this Batman film?
I'm just, very excited at the prospect of seeing King Tut finally make his silver screen debut. He was a major player in the 1960s Batman series, and I feel like he's yet to receive his due. Ancient Egypt was a real thing, y'all, and I'm excited to see what his pharaohness brings to the Bat universe.
Cozy, I appreciate you, but I'm going to ignore what you just said.
I will say, as a real
have a conversation with
as a real answer, I mean, I will admit it's not like the most original response, given that we previously talked extensively about this particular group earlier on in the podcast. But the Court of Owls,
that was one of mine.
Yeah, well, I apologize for taking it away from you, but yeah.
No, it's okay. I have another one. It's all good.
There's hints of the Court of Owls in this.
Well, is it a little bit surprising that we've not yet had like a live action Batman property to feature them in any way? Like, I understand it's kind of a
concept.
Yeah. What was it? Were the Court of Owls like introduced after Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, or was it like over the course?
They were New 52. So like when they rebooted the DC universe, let me look it up.
But yeah, long story short, it'd be cool to see them. And then they will, segue right into King Tut when it's revealed that he actually started the Court of Owls in the year 36,000 BC in ancient Egypt.
So
will Vincent Price come back?
The first issue of Batman to feature the Court of Owls in the New 52 released November of 2011. So
okay, yeah. So
really quick, another villain who I totally had forgotten about, but like I was looking up villains from the animated series, and then apparently they did this in the Gotham TV show, which is not something I have specifically been interested in, but the Mad Hatter.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was looking at Mad
that I
Hatter.
always forget about.
He's an interesting one, Dr. Jervis Tetch. And you'd have to change him a little bit to fit in this universe, but I think his mind control could be really interesting if they had a good way to talk about that.
I think it can work similarly to something like Count Vertigo from the Young Justice series.
Yep.
Or what we saw of Scarecrow in the Nolan films of it's toxins. It's a way of like taking advantage of hypnosis or something like that. But the one I've got... okay. Go ahead.
Sorry. Real quick, and don't worry, this is not another King Tut, but was there not a female villain that was also introduced in conjunction with the Mad Hatter at one point called the Carpenter? And her whole idea is that she like is responsible for building all the elaborate sets that the supervillains use throughout Gotham whenever they're enacting super crimes. Am I imagining her?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I just Googled the Carpenter Batman, and she seems real in the comics.
Oh. I mean, if Condiment King can be a thing, so can the Carpenter.
Yeah. Okay, Mitch, tell me about your options.
Imagining this.
Okay. So the one that I want to see, and we can I think we can end this on this discussion, honestly. I think it could be that big. Yeah. I think the only actor that we could see go toe-to-toe with Robert Pattinson as the Batman is Robert Pattinson. I want to see live-action Hush in this world.
Ooh.
I think Hush could be a really good story. So for those who don't know,
Thomas Elliott.
The character of Hush, aka Thomas Elliott, is someone that Bruce Wayne grew up with when he was younger. So it gives you the idea of, doing more flashbacks to his childhood and things like that. And eventually he becomes so obsessed with Bruce Wayne that he takes his face.
Yep.
He undergoes cosmetic surgery to be an exact clone of Bruce Wayne. So it would be Robert Pattinson acting against Robert Pattinson. And I think that could be something really, really special that only he could do in the DC universe. And AJ is going to shit all over my plan. So go ahead.
Okay. Hear me out. Another villain that I remember from the animated series is Man-Bat,
Yes.
right?
Yep. Kirk
And so,
Langstrom.
you know, he kind of had like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde like transformation into Man-Bat, right? Let's bring Taylor Lautner out of retirement and put him as Man-Bat.
Does he stay shirtless most of the movie?
I had such a good way for you to end the show on a discussion about Hush, and you bring up fucking Taylor Lautner of all people.
Think about it. Think about it.
But he's a superhero. He's Lava Boy.
No, he's Shark Boy.
Or Shark Boy. No, Lava Girl, Shark Boy. You're right. Sorry.
No.
I mixed this up.
Yes, you did.
My kid was watching it the other day. I've never seen it. So, okay. So, sorry. I think Hush is, just to get back to Hush, because I think Hush is a really interesting character for this. Hush is a super compelling character and storyline, and I would love to see that. And it's really fertile Batman movie because it has not been brought up in movies at all, even though the story's 15 years old now.
Roughly, I think 2003 is when they introduced Hush as a character.
Yeah.
And I think just that character fits, for me at least, I feel like it fits the vibe that they're going for in this world. And it's a character that harkens back to Bruce Wayne's childhood, which is a great way to introduce a villain when this Batman is meant to be year 2 of, okay, this is a villain that you could really introduce at any time because his ties to the character are all based on childhood. It could have been a year 1 villain if they'd really wanted to. They can do whatever they want with it, which I think could be really fun to see that done in live action with the Battinson acting directly against himself.
So, okay, so we know, I think this would be awesome. What about Affleck? Do we get Affleck and Pattinson seeing each other?
Oh,
maybe in The Flash.
I mean, we know we're getting Affleck in The Flash, right?
Yeah. Is that confirmed?
I thought
that was just
as far as I know, it seems like everybody's saying it.
Okay. I'm glad he's back as Batman. I like Affleck. I really do
too. People gave him a hard time, but I thought he did a great job.
People gave him a hard time because he's Ben Affleck, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I love Ben Affleck.
He's totally like fine. But
so Batfleck.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No, I think Hush is really good. Before we end, I did want to bring up one more. Mitch, are you familiar with Professor Pig?
God damn it!
I had a friend in high school who was obsessed with Professor Pig, spelt with a Y.
Yes. If you get a chance,
is still friends with me, but I don't see him very often.
If you get a chance, check. Professor Pig is a super creepy villain, and with the way they're taking Riddler in this one as more of like a serial killer, like Zodiac style serial killer, Professor Pig's whole thing is that he captures people and does surgeries on them and brainwashes them and tortures them into being Dolatrons for him.
Batman cross human centipede.
Yeah, like it's like a creepy character who could fit the universe and mutilate people, like kind of like Reek from Game of Thrones, torture them into becoming his slaves, and could explain why he's like why he has like people who fight for him because of what he's done to them.
I had a couple others that would just be like kind of rapid fire that I think could fit the vibe of this universe.
Cool.
Vandal Savage.
Yep.
I think
Vandal Savage would be great. Actually, I'd like to see them do some sort of tie-in with Vandal Savage throughout all the movies.
Yeah, have that be like an overarching villain before they try to get into something like Apocalypse again.
Yeah. Yep.
Another one that I had, I think with what they're going for of more detective noir, Clayface is a really good character that could tie into that, of someone who could kind of take on the appearance of anybody. And it's a whodunit, lots of murder mystery that can be done with that character.
Yep.
And I had another one and I lost it.
Is it Zaz?
It's not Zaz, because I think we're getting hints that Zaz might actually appear in this film, which I think could be cool. They're doing multiverse stuff, right? So give me the Batman Who Laughs.
Oh, yeah.
It would be awful to see that in live action, but I think the Batman that laughs would be absolutely goddamn terrifying in this universe.
If you guys don't know, the Batman Who Laughs is a version of the Batman in a different universe where Batman kills the Joker, but is gassed at the same time, I believe.
No, he's driven crazy by the Joker gas.
Oh, yes.
Kills the Joker, the entire Bat family, and then becomes like a crime lord.
Yes, and he's evil and he's terrifying, and he actually starts bringing other, like, there's a whole dark multiverse where things go wrong, and the Batman Who Laughs is very ingrained into the dark multiverse of the bad things that happened. So,
He's
yeah,
the Batman Who Laughs, top 3 comic book designs of all time. I'm gonna say it.
It's up
Very
there.
Hellraiser.
It's definitely up there. Yeah, very metal.
yes. Well, yeah, I think it comes from that DC metal.
It does.
Yeah.
I said it.
Yeah. I need to go back and read some of these arcs. I don't read enough comic books these days.
There's too many to
much
read,
stuff,
man.
Too many things competing for our time. It's not about the medium that it's on, it's just about the time it takes.
Yep.
So I think we can all say DC, I said at the beginning, DC Fandome was a success. I think I'm looking forward to this year over year now. I think we're going to get a lot of really cool trailers. They did announce that there's a Blue Beetle movie coming starring Jaime Reyes.
Yep.
Which I love that. And if they could get Ted Kord playing the Blue Beetle, like a mentor character to him, that would be even better. And maybe Booster Gold in the movie, because I really want a adaptation of Booster Gold. That's good. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to on the DC front, and hopefully they wait a little bit before they start bringing everybody back together for something. AJ, I know your thoughts. You were excited about the Batman movie, the new one that we're getting here, I believe. What's your takeaway from Fandome as you were excited about 2 of the Batman projects?
Fandome, like, I feel like they are getting closer to figuring out where they need to be overall in competition with Marvel. They're both, some of it still feels like they're trying too hard to be Marvel, like all of a sudden throwing in the multiverse at the same time that Marvel is putting in a multiverse and kind of tying everything back together. But at the same time, like, how do you start fresh in this post Marvel Cinematic Universe world without resetting everything and like acknowledging it somehow? So I wonder if that's the case. But overall, the game stuff looked cool. It looked interesting. A lot of the other stuff I didn't inherently care too much for, but the two things, that Flash trailer looked really good, and yeah, the Batman trailer looked really good, and I'm super in.
Cool. Cozy, any final thoughts on Fandome?
Like I said at the top, shout out to DC for taking a name as weird as Fandome and really making it work and really making it stick.
All right, perfect. Mitch.
Give me more. All I want is more of all of this stuff.
Okay. I think I'm in the same position. All right, cool. Well, AJ, I have hosted the DC stuff. Why don't you wrap the show up?
Absolutely. So that's I think that's going to do it for this episode. Don't forget, everybody. Nathan, you're playing some Psychonauts 2 tomorrow, Thursday.
Yep. 9 o'clock.
That's the 21st at 9 o'clock. Yep. And then at some point next week, we'll probably try and play some Back 4 Blood, just the 4 of us or whoever's available, so long as adulting allows. That's going to do it, I suppose. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Press YYZ. If you enjoyed this broadcast, be sure to follow us on Twitch, subscribe to us on YouTube, and rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, every other podcast service, of course. You can also check us out on Twitter at Press YYZ. You can slide into our Discord at invite.gg/Press YYZ to keep the conversation going. And until next time, welcome back, Mitch.
Welcome back.
Thanks, guys. I didn't need that in my ears at 10:30 at night on a Wednesday, but thank you, I guess.
10:19.
I round up. It's fine.